All right, before I do example 2, here is the most efficient technique I've ever come up with for simplifying this kind of stuff. These two things. That's everything. This is just some of it. But this is a step-by-step what you should do, in what order, and if it doesn't happen, you skip it. Okay? So, the first thing you fix is this picture. A power expression raised to a power. If it's there, do it. If it isn't there, skip it. And if it is there, to do it, you multiply the powers. X stays the same. The powers multiply together. And you should go ahead and put this on your sheet, the x to the mn. All right? All right, so that's how you deal with a power to a power situation. Whatever the base is still the base. The power inside times the power outside is the new power. All right, after you deal with the parentheses issue, after that point, you deal with any negative or zero powers. Negative powers get moved, zero powers get thrown out. They equal 1. In the problems that we're dealing with, everything's being multiplied on top, everything's being multiplied on the bottom, times 1 doesn't do anything. So if you see a zero exponent at this point, you just cross it off. All right? When we start getting pluses and minuses in problems, zero powers have to be thought of a little bit more carefully. Plus 1 and minus 1 make a difference. Times 1 doesn't. So again, as long as everything's being multiplied on top, everything being multiplied on the bottom, zero powers are irrelevant. They can be thrown out. Deal with them after you deal with this picture, though. Next, after you've done both of those things, you should be left with a bunch of x's, y's, whatever letters on top with positive powers, a bunch of x's, y's, whatever's on the bottom with positive powers. Maybe some numbers, put numbers in front, evaluate them. 2 cubed equals 8, 4 to the second equals 64, whatever numbers are raised to powers, deal with them in this step here. All right, but put numbers in front. xy3 isn't as good as 3xy. All right, so numbers go in front. All right. If you have x's on top or x's on the bottom, same letters, you're looking at this picture. X is being multiplied by x. The rule says to add the powers. Base stays the same, powers add together. Again, we've already got rid of all the negative powers, so it's just a simple addition. Number plus number equals whatever the new number is. What that ends up doing is you get at least just one x on top, one y on top, one z on top, whatever letters you're dealing with, one of each on the bottom. So the worst that can happen after that is that you have the same letter happening on top and bottom, both the positive powers. You subtract the powers, answer goes in the location of the highest power. For example, I'm going to give you specific examples on this one. X to the 6th over x to the 4th equals x squared. X to the 4th over x to the 6th equals 1 over x squared. Okay? 6 is bigger, 6 minus 4 is 2, belongs on top. 6 is bigger, 6 minus 4 is 2, belongs on bottom. And the book, because it thinks that confusing you on these problems is important, asks you to do all kinds of weird things with your answers. Write the answer so that all the powers are negative. Write the answer so that everything's in the numerator. Write the answer for everything in the denominator. Whatever. All right? Whatever the book asks you to do on these problems, your exact directions from me at this point in time and forever is every single final answer has positive powers. No negative or zero powers happening. So if the book says, write the answer, let's say this is the answer. Write your answer so that everything's in the numerator. You write x to the negative second power. Don't do that. Write 1 over x squared. I want every final answer to be one of each letter, every power positive, wherever it belongs. Okay, don't listen to the book. They are confusing you more than just make everything positive. If you look in the back of the book, they have negative power answers. Let's say your answer is x squared y to the 3rd over z cubed. Let's say that's your answer. And the back of the book has x squared y cubed z to the negative 3rd. Hopefully everybody can see that this answer matches that answer. Because that just negative 3rd power just means that this belongs in the bottom, right? Same answer? That's how I want your answer written. Even though the back of the book says that's the answer. Even though the book said write the answer with everything in the numerator, I don't care about what the book said. That's what I'm saying. I'm the person grading your papers. Your book doesn't have a hand.
I guess not.
Or eyes, I don't think. So it can't grade your papers. So, all right. With that being said, let's go ahead and do example 2. Simplify this. So again, if we're following through this process, step 1 says we're looking for this parentheses raised to a power. Look, nothing. Skip it. Okay, next thing, you deal with 0 and negative powers. Now, notice this structure is all numerator, no denominator. With negative powers, you want to have a denominator. So put the whole thing over 1 just to create structure. All right? 0 powers get crossed off because everything's being multiplied. Negative powers are going to be moved. So these two guys are going to move down. Right? So we do that. X stays squared on top. Y is still the first on top. X is still to the 5th on top. X is to the 5th on the bottom. And Y to the 4th is on the bottom. Okay, notice this, that I put this little 1 on the Y. It's advisable. Everything has a numerical power on it. So if you're missing a power, there's understood to be a 1. Okay? 0 power goes away. A first power is a first power. There's 1 Y there. X to 0 means there's 0 X's. So throw it away. Alright? So, stayed on top, moved to the bottom. That's all step 2 is or ever will be. After step 2 happens, you should be looking at a picture like this. X's and Y's on top, X's and Y's on the bottom, every power positive. For step 3, we're going to see if we have the same letter on both top and or bottom. So on top, I've got an X and I've got another X. Too many X's. There's exactly 1 Y, which is what we want. On the bottom, there's exactly 1 X, exactly 1 Y. That's what we want. There's too many X's on top, so this is what step 3 is all about. If there's too many X's, deal with them. So X squared times X to the 5th makes X to the 7th. Nothing happens to the Y to the 1st. Nothing happens to X to the 5th. Nothing happens to Y to the 4th. Make your modification, move everything else that nothing happens to. Step 4, we're looking for this picture. The same letter on top and bottom. If it's happening, we deal with it. So, you have 2 questions to ask yourself. Where does X belong and what should the power be? Okay? Austin, where does X belong?
X belongs on the top.
Because?
Because the higher power is on top.
Perfect. Higher power is on top. So the question of where does X belong is answered by the higher power. As Austin said, X belongs on top because 7 is bigger. Lexi, what should the power be?
It should be 2.
Because?
Because 7 minus 5 is 2.
Perfect. You subtract the power. So the 2 questions you have to ask yourself in step 4 is, where does it belong? What's the highest power is the answer to the question. What's the power supposed to be? You subtract that, it answers your question. Let's go with Braden. Where does Y belong?
On the bottom.
And to what power?
3rd.
3rd. Perfect. 4 is bigger than 1. 4 minus 3 is 1. The end. Alright, you do all 4 steps. Each step makes the problem simpler to look at. Each step deals with a specific topic that's dealt with a specific way. And again, it's the model of efficiency for these problems. I've never found an easier way to do these. I advise that that's the technique you use every time.